Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna go in and finish adding in the ability to finish actually the game, as in determining which player has the highest score and telling the game left player 1 or right player 1. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna declare a variable called scores, and that's going to be used later for when we return in the score values. We're going to need some variable to store it in. Next, we're going to have a score limit. For now, we're going to set the score limit to 0 just for testing purposes. Later down the line, we're going to set it to 2, and the score limit is going to be 2, but the game will end on 3. So same with this. As you see, the score limit, I put it at 0, but that means if a player gets 1 point, then the game is over. Next, we're going to add a game timer equals 10. This is just going to be the timer we use for when we finish the game, and then this is going to be var. We're going to also add a default timer, and that's going to be equal to 3, which is the 3 seconds we have for when the ball respawns normally. Next, what we're going to want to do is come here on the level left goal. We're going to check here. We're going to call scores equals UI dot get score. So this will allow us to get the two values we get for left and right, and in order to access the correct score, we're going to call scores, and we're going to call for the number 1 instead of 0, which is going to give us the right score, because if we get a goal on the left side, we need to check for the right goal score, or the right player's score. So now we're going to do greater than or equal to score limit. Then we're going to say UI set timer, and then we're going to call the game timer, because that means that the player has won the game. Yep, that looks fine. And next we're going to go in and call else, which means we didn't get that win condition. We're going to say UI dot set timer, and we're going to call it default timer, which is going to be 3 seconds. And then we're going to say ball dot reset, and then just leave the score left here, and we're going to get rid of this reset now. Now, let's just take this to save us some time. Just copy this, paste. We're going to get rid of that one. Going to get rid of that one as well, and keep the score right here. But this time we need to change here to 0, and that's going to be it for this side. Next, we're going to go back to the process function here, and we're going to check if UI, and then I believe it's timer, and we're going to check if the wait time is equal to 10. Then we're going to go in and say the standard ball timer, or what is it, ball time? Let me just double check. That should be under UI. Yeah, ball time. Yep, that looks fine. So let's go back to the main here, and we're going to say ball time minus equal to delta time. And currently, I'm going to add an if statement and check if action just is it just pressed or is pressed? So is action pressed? And we're going to say if it UI accept is pressed, then we're going to tell the game to get tree and then change the scene, and we're going to tell it to change back to main, which means we're just resetting the game. If we're having a multiplayer game, we might want to have another if statement in here. checking if both players have accepted or if only one accepted. So that's something else you guys can do yourself, but for now I'm going to just go in and code the rest of this. So we're going to check if, actually I got to indent this, I think. No. If scores 0, and we're going to say +1 score limit, and we're going to tell UI/win message, and we're going to say the text is equal to left player wins, and then we're just going to add in here a string integer, and we're going to round it, and we're going to say UI.ball time. So that's going to be that. Let's copy this one more time. And basically say else if, and then we're going to just do the same thing for the other side. And let's just copy this and just say right player wins. And actually we should add a space between this so that it's easy to see the time. And then we're going to add an else if statement now for here, saying if UI/timer.wait time is equal to 3, which is the default value, then we're going to just bring in this and indent that inside. And I believe that's all we need to do for that. Let me see, is there anything else here? No, that looks like that's it. So now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna start getting some basic code finished up. We need to add some new code. We're gonna be adding some both to the player and AI paddle. Get position Y. The reason why we need to do this is when I was trying to get the functionality working for detecting the position between paddle and player, for some reason using the collider object we couldn't get a precise position, so I decided to go in and come here and return position through a method. So we do that for both the AI and also for the, I'm gonna copy this whole thing, both the AI and the player, and have this function added to them. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going back to the ball and we're gonna add some new variables. We're gonna have the speed changed to 700. Also, let me check, yeah, okay. Also the AI player and the normal player, we're gonna have speed as 400. And now we're gonna add some speeds, like we're gonna add, variables. We're gonna have a start speed. This is gonna be for when the game or the ball resets. We set the speed back to 700. Currently, what's gonna be currently being added is we're gonna be adding a speed increment to the ball. So we're gonna need a start speed for when we want to reset it. We're gonna have a min speed of 500, and I believe we had a max speed of 1,000. That looks good. Now, what we're gonna do next is start declaring some new variables here. We're gonna have a new variable called new velocity y. And to get that, we're gonna do paddle y equals collider. Okay, it's called collision here. Collision collider, and then we're gonna get the position. Well, what do we name it? Get position y here. So copy that over. So that's going to store our value. And the next thing is we're going to call a new variable again. No, not a new variable. We're going to now calculate the value we're going to get by taking the absolute value of the self. Actually, we don't need, I think, self. We can just do position.y. If you don't include the self keyword, I believe it still takes itself as the component. And then we're going to do paddle y subtract. And now we're going to take this this value we've got, and we're going to clamp it and say it's going to be between. We're going to be taking the position at y, and then it's going to be clamped between 0 to 64, because as you remember back in one of our first tutorials, the paddle center goes from 0 to 128, so we would have 64 in the up direction and 64 in the down direction, which is why we're also taking an absolute value here, so we don't get confused by negative or positive values. And we're going to add a new variable here called angle y, and we're going to say it's new velocity y divided by 64. So we're going to keep our value between, I believe it can be anywhere between 0 to 1. And we're going to have some velocity.x, and we're going to multiply it by -1. And then I think this is a good place to finish off. We're going to go in here. This is going to be, we're going to leave a comment here. Add velocity x and y calculation here. We're also going to need to move this here. Let's just quickly change this here. Copy that. And we're going to say else. So basically, we're going to have velocity bounce only be called now once we hit a wall. Right now, it's working fine, but we're going to have to change this later down the line. Okay, yeah, that seems fine. So that's going to be it for this video. We're going to add the rest of the calculations here. And we're also going to, in the next video, we're going to make sure to test this after. I forgot to test this. Actually, wait, let me just quickly, I think I can just quickly test it now. Let me just lose on purpose. Yep, left, whoops, I put the wrong one. Left player wins. It's supposed to be right player. So we're going to want to change this to right player and this one to... wait, did I return? Where's the UI? How did I return the score? Score left. If goal is left, score right. If goal is right, score left. Did I mess up something here? This should be score left. Left, right, that looks fine. Maybe I need to get rid of this +1. I think that was for testing purposes, and if I got to change it. Let's just quickly check. Hello there, that's not the correct message. Let's quickly just test this. Maybe I just messed up. Okay, I just figured out what the problem was with the scores here. We actually want to change this back to left and right. And we gotta make sure these are both if statements, because this add plus one, it'll run this first one. It's only because we have the score limit here set to 0. But in the future, the else if would have ran fine if it was any other score, but since we're doing testing purposes, it's better to have 2 if statements. So I'll leave it like this. You can leave it else if, and it should be fine if you have the score limit above 0, but other than that, you want to use 2 if statements for this one here. With that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video.